What was supposed to be the next big thing, but totally flopped? Google Glass. I heard one of the biggest issues was that it was too heavy and felt uncomfortable, but they literally couldn't make it any lighter. I was creeped out by the commercials where that one guy identified a bartender's face and looked up her Facebook to get details on her interests before hitting on her by using his Google Glass. Edit: I cannot find the commercial, so it may have been, as comments said, a spoof. I have a pretty distinct memory of my father and I watching it on normal TV as a commercial and both of us looking horrified at the end because it was playing off as Google Glass making you suave and smooth. So maybe I'm mixing up the memory. 3D TV. Clearly remember thinking, these companies have lost their fucking minds. There's practically nothing 3D to watch. TV shows weren't available in 3D and weren't about to be filmed in 3D. Catalogs of old favorites would never be 3D. It's like the entire 3D industry was made for Avatar, which, while a little bit neat, I never intended to watch a second time. Reminded me of all the bullshit hype surrounding DVDs at first. Like I could watch a scene from Terminator 2 from any angle I wanted. Like I'd be able to watch any movie scene from any angle I wanted. Never ever saw that feature utilized. Edit: thank you for the helpful feedback on multi-angle viewing. Clearly, I did not watch enough porn DVDs. Google and was supposed to be the answer to Facebook. That was a lesson on how not to handle hype. There was so much hype around Google+, it was infectious. But they refused to open it up to everyone and maintained a very hardline invite-only system. Even once hype had peaked and there was a notable decline, still they maintained a small invite-only system. I remember by the time they decided to open it up to everyone, the hype was well and truly dead and no one bothered with it. They should have cashed in when hype was high, but they, I assume, got greedy, thinking the hype would just infinitely increase and people wouldn't get bored waiting to get in. And then they tried to force it upon everyone by integrating it with YouTube. From what I've gathered in this thread, Google threw a lot of shit to see if it would stick LMAO. That's basically their business model. I read somewhere, ages ago, that Google was willing to try just about anything their R&D people put out there, and if it didn't look like it was going to be $1 billion return, they'd can it and move on. Also, a lot of things they cancel have features that end up in their mainstream projects. Like the conversation view, mail categories, trip thing, snoozing from inbox are all just part of Gmail now. I was at a conference about 12 years ago. Google presented a trial they were running in Africa because there was still very low percentage of smartphones and internet. So they had a call-in service, where people could call a number and ask for information in their local dialect. The operator would Google search it in English and translate the answer back to them in their native language. Not entirely relevant, but I liked the trend where everybody wanted the smallest cell phone possible. For 20 years cell phones got smaller and smaller, often being the main selling point of the phone. Then all of a sudden you could watch videos on your phone, and almost overnight the trend reversed to larger is better. Now I want to watch Zoolander. His phone was hilariously small. Google Wave. It was supposed to replace email with a more collaborative approach. Essentially it was like a dynamically created discussion board you'd share with select people, and you could have a more readable discussion than one with a bunch of forwards and CCS and the like. I thought it was a good idea, but it flopped big time and Google got rid of it after a few years. This was by far the best collaborative platform for planning trips I have experienced. I took a lot of backpacking trips. And we could all combine research, having a collected map, take stock of inventory etc. in one place. Now I see people putting that stuff into a Google Doc and it kind of sucks by comparison. RIP Google Wave. This one might be a bit obscure just because I've only ever met one other person familiar with it, but Google's Project ARM modular smartphone was looking like it could have been the end-all be-all of smartphones. Based off the phone block's idea of having a Lego-like hot swappable module phone, the idea was that you could switch out any components of the phone on the fly. Camera, fingerprint scanner, even different quality screens. Conceptually, it really looked like it could take over the phone market, as it would lead to people not having to buy whole new phones anymore, but rather replacement or upgraded parts to a phone they already liked, thereby reducing costs and increasing utility. You don't want a phone with 5 cameras that inflate the cost unnecessarily. Just buy a 1-camera module. You want a 1440p Super AMOLED screen to replace your 720p regular screen? Buy one and swap it in. However, like many Google projects, it died off for myriad reasons and the long-standing era of $1,000 smartphone slabs lived on. Yes, I remember this. I was very excited when they announced it. I wonder what happened. I guess maybe because of comparability issues with multiple hardware systems from a multitude of manufacturers who have their own protocols, but damn wish they went through with it.